answers? I think I'm entitled.
You want answers!
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work. When you go to church. When you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
This is the most evil generation since the inception of man. Worse than the flood, worse than Sodom and Gomorrah. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that we can instantly communicate with everybody around the world. And we are propagating sin in a way we never used to. If you wanted to have a sexual sin, you had to go do it with somebody. But now we can just open a phone and do things on the phone. And Los Angeles is #1 exporter of pornography to the whole world. We should be not only ashamed of that statistic as Americans, but fearful for the kind of things that they're opening up to the country with that kind of filth, with the demonic world. And then you look at the rest of Hollywood. I just saw Nicole Kidman has a new movie coming out who alleges to be Catholic. They almost gave it an X rating in our day and age. Imagine that. So they had to cut stuff to get it down to R. But she has a preoccupation. It's having an affair, but also preoccupation with sex with animals. So we're going to a whole new level. And this is a mainstream film.
People watch on Saturday night. Cops, top cops, tough cops, 911. All of these stories that are glorifying the police state, and they're falling right into the manipulation as they watch police with no search warrant, with no court order, break down people's doors, tear out their walls, rip open their mattresses.
Pretty sneaky.
It's pretty sneaky, all right. You see them stop people in the streets, and the guy's got $400 in his pocket. They don't press any charges. They didn't even have any reasonable suspicion to stop the person and search him. And what do? They take their money. And they don't give it back. And America's watching this. And the stupid idiots, yes, you stupid idiots, you sit there and watch it, not realizing that when you take away that man's freedom, you've also taken away your own. You see, because they can do the same thing to you. Just because you talk a way that they don't like you talking, or because you wear red shoes and they don't like red shoes, they can do the same thing to you. And under the new law, without a court order, without a search warrant, they can break down your door, they can rip open your mattresses, your couches, your walls, they can trash your house. Let's say they don't like the color of your shoes. All they have to do is drop a little pouch of cocaine in your living room, behind your couch, and find it and say, aha, you're a drug dealer. What happens then? Now they can confiscate your house, all your possessions, all your property, all your bank accounts, all your cars, boats, vacation cottages, whatever you have. And they can auction it off within 24 hours without ever even pressing charges against you. Without a court order, without due process, without just compensation. And there's not a damn thing that you can do about it. Not a damn thing.
Famous brands linked with suspicious things. Balenciaga,
sister sent me this clip that's going around on TikTok. And one of the things that people think is that hip hop is homophobic, right? But here you have this guy sitting down explaining to a hip hop journalist that actually the reality is that hip hop has always had an explicitly LGBTQ, if you want to call it, agenda. Take a listen to this.
The industry grooms them to be open to it. Like if we go back to the Big Papa video, right? Why was there, you remember the scene in the bathroom? Why was there a transgender pissing in the bathroom with the, and the guy? You don't
Standing
remember?
up, right?
Yeah. Go to the scene when Buster's talking to her at the bar and Big walk up and move in, and then, or when she say true, stop it right there and look at the knot in her throat.
Not the knot in her throat. Talking about this young lady?
Her name is Shamika. She was from Queens and she got killed because she was a was dating her, didn't know it was a man, and went to have sex with her and found out she was a man, and she's dead, and he's in jail. What I believe is that the Tupac Biggie got so gangster and so big that the agenda that they was about to push on us, that they later pushed on us, it just got pushed back. They was getting ready to groom us right there. They was grooming us. We got a transgender in the Big Papa video in the bathroom and the lead woman. Not only in Big Papa and Warning, she's in the bed with Biggie, and then in the Flavor in Your Ear remix, she's dancing behind LL.
Right.
And Hype Williams is director, and she's the lead in all three of those videos, and he's the director of all three of those videos. And it's rumored that that was his chick.
That is a major clue right there. So I wanted you guys to hear that because it does seem like the industry is having a reckoning and people are realizing that this really hasn't been about just creating music. Hollywood is not just creating music for your entertainment. They are giving out frequencies and they are modifying your behavior based on the frequencies that they are giving out. And so it's important to know what it is that you're listening to.
Local news overrepresents black folks as perpetrators, overrepresents white folks as victims. So the message that gets sent is they're dangerous, and specifically to you. They are not only bad people, they're going to hurt you. So therefore, we want to keep them on that side of town. We want to keep their children in those schools over there. We don't want to work around them. We don't want to live around them, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that message comes through loud and clear in the way that media represents people of color. You know, whenever we, thinking about Tamir Rice, the 12-year-old child that was shot in Cleveland by police, when that happened, what did they do? The first news story in Cleveland that made a big splash was about Tamir Rice's parents and the history of domestic abuse and criminality among his parents, not about the cop that killed him. We talk worse about black victims than we do white killers. What did we say about Ted Bundy? Oh, he was so smart and he was so quiet and he always seemed so nice. Every time one of these white boys goes and shoots up a school, what do we say? We had no idea he was going to do this. So we talk better. We have more sympathy for white folks who commit mass murder, bury bodies under the house, cook them up in a soup pot and eat them, right? Than we do black folks who were killed by police. We start digging for every bad thing they ever did. We want to know if they had a juvenile record. We want to know if they'd ever been arrested. That's what the media does. And until that changes, I'm afraid white folks will stay in denial, and it'll be very hard for us to move forward, whether we're talking about cops or just average everyday folks.
John D. Rockefeller in 1901 had $300 million in the stock market. $300 million in the stock market in 1901. John D. Rockefeller. People are getting paid pennies. You can buy a bicycle for a couple bucks. You can get a car and all kinds of things for literally next to nothing. So imagine having $300 million in 1901. You could buy out the educational system. You could buy out the medical system. You could buy out the energy system. You could buy out the government and push the Federal Reserve in there. You could do a whole lot of things when you have that much money in 1901. So what's happened is since 1901, they've been buying out the government and buying out these politicians and buying out all these people, and they just fold. And that's what we're seeing. So people need to be aware of this. Like even everything that goes on today in 2020, they're just all bought out. They're Muppets and puppets is what they are. They work for the system. That's what it is. That's why they don't work for the people. Anybody who worked for the people, they would either get them voted out or they would take them out.
I zoomed in on things that should be behind 60 feet of curvature or more, and I could see them. So I immediately defaulted to, well, the Earth is just bigger. The curvature formula is wrong. And then when I went and verified these things, we can see too far. And then everything else started falling into place. Like water needs to be contained. What the science of water is, water at rest lies flat. And it needs to be contained. A pond, it has a shoreline that's higher than the water, right? Lower some of that shoreline and the water will flow away because it needs to be contained. So the world is like a big pond. All of the oceans of the world, think of it as a pond. All of the continents, think of them as just islands. And what's containing our pond? Well, the highest land on Earth by more than double the next average height of any continent is Antarctica. Antarctica is more than double the height of any other continent on average. So Antarctica is the shoreline around our world.
Well, how do you explain when they go up in space and look down and the Earth is a globe?
Yeah. So NASA admits they don't have any photos of Earth. They say they're all put together in composite. The one picture that showed up was called on everyone's iPhone when the iPhones came out was called the Blue Marble. And Robert Simon, who's a NASA visual artist, explained in an interview that he made it all from data, and he used Command Z a lot, and he stamped clouds in there using the same clouds multiple times, and he literally made it in Photoshop, and he admits it. NASA admits they don't have any real photos of Earth other than one that was taken from the moon in 1972 or whatever year it was, and that's called the Blue Marble. I forget what they call that one, but we took that picture that NASA took right off their website, we put it into Photoshop, and we cranked up the levels, and the Earth had a box around it, like it was cut and pasted right in there from NASA's website. Yeah.
Well, why would they want us to believe that it's round?
There we go. We're already there. That's a very good question. That's where we all default to. And we'll get into that more. But the reason they want you to believe you live on a ball is because they're hiding who we truly are. They're hiding more resources. Think about this. Every war, what is that about? Land, resources, power.
Ports.
Right? What if there's more land? What if they tell us there's 8 or 9 continents or whatever the number is now?
You felt that the government was deliberately spraying cold germs in subways, was deliberately trying to make people ill with the AIDS virus. This is pretty serious stuff. Do you really feel that?
Well, that's a good question. Well, I'm with Barbara Walters now. Oh, that's a serious one. Okay, so I got to, now, because people are going to chase me after this. People are going to chase me. I believe that it is quite highly possible that the AIDS virus is a result of genetic warfare testing.
By American agents?
Absolutely.
Because as we get into this, we want people to make sure that you're not just somebody with a wacky idea. Right. Okay? You come with some science to you. What is the official reason for the collapse of the World Trade Center towers?
Well, we're told that the planes hit the buildings and there was an explosion and a fire, and about an hour and a half later, in the case of the North Tower, the buildings collapsed due to structural weakening due to the fires. The problem is that we don't have large gradual deformations associated with collapses, and fires in high-rises have never brought down a steel frame high-rise building at all, ever. And what we have, unfortunately, is the evidence in the Twin Towers and the third skyscraper to collapse that day, which most people don't know anything about it. We have the evidence of the 10 key features of controlled demolition. In the case of Building 7, it collapses straight down into its own footprint at free fall speed in the first 100 feet. It's dropping, as you can see, symmetrically, smoothly, at free fall speed in the first 100 feet, 2.5 seconds. This is uncanny. There's 40,000 tons of structural steel designed to resist this collapse.
So what, a 47-story building?
Yeah, this is called Building 7, right? A football field away from the Twin Towers.
Okay, so what we're showing is left what happened. In fact, right is a controlled where you are using, or the people who made this happen, used demolition.
Let's cut the bullshit. Y'all know exactly what happened to them damn towers. The truth is, the American people are far too afraid to do what's necessary about what took place this many years ago. Okay? This is why we get out here and complain and whine about it, but we ain't gonna do shit. Y'all know what happened on this day, and it wasn't no terrorists. Okay? Now they did this, and we ain't do shit about it. Okay? We let the shadow government take a punch at us, and we didn't do nothing about it. I'm so sick and tired of people wanting to talk about racism, want to talk about all this other bullshit, but you got a far bigger enemy out there than it is a white man or a black man. The military-industrial complex. Yeah. So if you want to talk truth, let's be real. Y'all know what took place this day. Peace.
Truth about Kobe Bryant.
Family. Mm-hmm. So simply, we've been lied to.
Correct.
And so the Boule Seeker Society, so as we kind of amalgamate the two to one, the ancient Boule Seeker Society, their logo, Apollo, is very interesting. A half male, half female, which represents the sexual disorientation of the Boule.
Facts.
Okay?
Not the Baphomet.
Promoting the LGBTQ community to this day. So half male, half female with breasts, and half lion.
Yep.
With this left paw on its skull. That's the ancient Boule logo going back 5,000 years. Now the present day logo is the same entity, but its right paw is on what we call an urn.
Not the Baphomet.
Which they keep the ashes of their people. So when you connect the term skull urn or urn skull to your listeners on Google Images, it's connected to Luciferian witchcraft. It's connected to witches and warlocks wearing necklaces and around their neck or around their wrists or ankles with the ashes of their dead loved ones. So when we study the life of Kobe Bryant, who eventually became a member of both the Thelema Seeker Society in the Theosophical Seeker Society, and also Kobe Thelema, yes, Aleister Crowley, yes.
Aleister Crowley,
Seeker Society, right, with Elena Blavatsky out of Germany, who immigrated to
Paul
New York City in the early part of the 1900s. And so Kobe Bryant, prior to his rape case, was not a member of any secret society. Not the Thelema Secret Society, not the Theosophical Secret Society. And Kobe later on, we'll bring this up later, after his rape case in June of 2003 in Eagle, Colorado, Edwards, Colorado. All of a sudden, he gets all these tattoos, and he's a member of both the Thelema Secret Society and the Theosophical Secret Society, including the Boule Secret Society, okay?
You see all those hand gestures LeBron James always does? He also speaks about this. This is, he's talking about a lot, and I'm only 11 minutes in.
He was a Prince Hall Mason.
Message.
So to your listeners, when you delve into the history or the origination of the Prince Hall Masonic Order,
again,
I'll go into depth later
the original
on.
Apollo
You cannot
podcast.
be a Boule unless you are a Prince Hall Mason. So going back to this background of the Boule Secret Society, in order to understand the foreground as to why Kobe Bryant was unalive and taken out. So the Boule Secret Society's original logo, going back 5,000 years, half male, half female, half lion with this left paw on a skull. The present day logo of the Boule Secret Society, which they are now headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, is the same entity, but with this right paw on an urn. So when you connect the words skull urn or urn skull, it represents that the Boule Secret Society, their task is to be the gatekeepers of Black America and the Black diaspora. And there's over 150 chapters of the Boule Secret Society throughout the United States, throughout the Caribbean, throughout Eastern, Central, and Western Europe. They have absolutely, Brother Apollo, no connection to the masses of the Black diaspora, either here or throughout the world.
Watch this fucking podcast. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to show more.
This all makes sense. And these are astronauts from 1969. Y'all remember the moon landing, right? It went something like this. Watch this video until the end, comment below, and share this with someone you love, care, and respect. This is for educational purposes only. Did we actually land on the moon?
When televisions were still in black and white, and folks were still using rotary fucking phones. And most new cars sold in the United States didn't even have power windows or fucking air conditioning. And we just strapped two cowboys into what was essentially a fucking Coke can with a Chevy small block attached to it, and just launched them motherfuckers out into orbit on nothing more than a hope and a fucking dream, and somehow managed to land that glorified bottle rocket safely on an uncharted lunar surface, where they then got out and played hopscotch for a few hours, and then they got right back inside that motherfucker, and then somehow managed to launch themselves back off the goddamn moon with no infrastructure. And then a few short weeks later, they landed safely back on Earth. You really fucking believe that that happened? God damn, you're a gullible son of a bitch. I bet you still believe in fucking Santa Claus, you...
Oh, they want to work you until you're dead. It's been their plan all along. When you were born, they issued you a serial number to keep you in line. They took your footprints. They kept all your records. We're all issued a barcode, just like cattle would be on a farm. And they mandate that your parents or legal guardians send you to school, indoctrination camp. And if you don't, there's legal action taken against your parents, and they'll make sure you get to school because it's a 8-hour workday. And they push you through a 30-minute lunch. And there's bells that go off that start to train your mind. Just like prison, just like a 9-to-5 job that you work today. All for us to pay for permission to go fishing and hunting. And we're not allowed to keep all of our money. In fact, every time we get paid our money, we have to pay them. Every time we use our money, we have to pay them. Whenever we leave the house, we have to pay them. Only 120, 150 years ago, people were living off the grid, no issues, tax-free, living off of a homestead, growing all of their stuff, food, shelter, water, they had it. It was no issue to them. The Amish people seem to really have it figured out.
This is Monument Valley on the corner of Utah and Arizona, United States. Now, if you notice, these are cut blocks in the ground. And I've been trying to tell y'all that ancient people had technology that they don't tell us about. So how did these blocks happen naturally? I know there's going to be someone that drops in the comments and defends the Matrix programming to try to explain how this is natural. These cuts, look at that cut. Look at these cuts all throughout the land here. You can see it's pre-cut. Y'all are seeing what I'm seeing, right? These cuts, it starts at the edge, and then it goes all the way through here, even down up in here. And on the right side where my finger you can't see my finger, but over there too. This looks like somebody took a pizza cutter and just pre-sliced the pizza. So you just grab your piece. That's what that looks like. This is pre-flood. The reason why we know it's pre-flood is because there are fossilized sea creatures all up in this whole area on these rocks, these cubes and stuff. So they were building something back then, and then the flood came, and this is the evidence. This is not natural. This is not natural, okay? Let's continue. We wouldn't even know about this unless this independent guy found this stuff. This is a cube. Look at those dimensions. Right angles. How did they do this? How did they do this? How did they cut the earth like that? Laser technology, people. I'm trying to tell you, ancient people have mad tech. And we're impressed with the iPhone. Okay? They cut the earth like this. And it's like, what were they building? Stuff like the pyramids and stuff, monoliths is what they were building. So what is the point of this video? The point of this video is to get you to question the mainstream information and question what you're being told. Because they conveniently forgot to tell us about this in school. They skipped that part. All right? Intelligent human beings, probably with the Nephilim giants, were cutting these blocks out to build monoliths and temples and all kinds of stuff back in the day. But they didn't tell us about this. Why? Why are they hiding that? Question what you're being told. My natural position, if I hear some major story, oh, you know, something happened and it was caused by this, I immediately doubt the cause. I immediately doubt the reason as to why it happened. Okay? And they're going to tell you that the pyramids were built by hand chiseling rocks out of the mountainside, perfect cubes, to build the pyramids and stuff like that. No, they used technology like lasers, and who knows how they hoisted these up. They probably had some anti-gravity stuff. We don't know because they won't tell us.
Nancy Pelosi, Barbara Boxer, Dianne Feinstein, Kamala Harris, Jerry Brown, Gavin Newsom, they're all from the same place. They're all from the same class. They're all very wealthy. They all have estates. Kevin's living in a $9 million home. Jerry's got a big Grass Valley estate. Feinstein had one of the most beautiful homes of Tahoe. Barbara Boxer's at Rancho Mirage. But their policies made sure that people where I live can't buy a house because of the regulations. It's so hard to do. Or they made sure that food is very expensive, or there's no natural gas. And because it doesn't affect them, because they have enough money, that they don't really care about the rates. They can either get their income and capital gains or get right up, but they don't really worry about it. And then something like Los Angeles happens. And now that everybody's dumbfounded. Oh my God, I'm not insulated from this. No, you're not.